Hello, this is Katie Shasky. Welcome to my third ever podcast. My first podcast was called Serum for the Soul, and I had a co-host named Megan Pugel. Then the last podcast I had was just me solo. It was on Spotify mainly. It was Spirituality with Muscle with Katie Shasky. And I would have probably kept that name had my password not gotten caught up in this relay thing. When I made that email associated account to begin with to make Spirituality with Muscle, it went through a relay, an email relay, and I tried several times to change the email to an actual email, but it would not change over. So I eventually lost it when Spotify changed from Anchor to Spotify for podcasters. So I had to start over from scratch, and here we are. We are privileged to be here together, and the third time's being the charm. This podcast's name is Maintaining Velocity, and I will get into why it's called that in just a few minutes. But my plan is to give you a little introduction. My name is Katie Shasky. I've been studying the occult. I've been in this journey, this path, this life since, I'll say conservatively, since 2004. I got my first deck of cards in 2005, and I've been studying myself, my own chart, my own patterns, pulling myself out of some deep depressions. I've lost over 100 pounds naturally and kept it off. I've been doing my own spiritual hygiene this whole time. I have been learning all the lessons the hard way. I'm a 3-5 manifesting generator. So I've done all the failing first. So when I come to you and tell you something that works, I've already fucked it up. Trust. All right, so I've been studying for an extremely long time. I am what would be considered a polymath and an autodidact. I'm self-taught. And I am, very interested and able to understand a very wide variety of topics. I'm ADHD. I used to trim weed for a living. So I trimmed cannabis for about 10 years. I've always worked an unconventional job, but I've always been in some type of service. So right now I have a few different jobs. I do spray tans. I do my spiritual work, which you're aware of, my tarot, astrology. Well, I don't offer astrology services anymore, and I keep forgetting to say that. I haven't offered my astrology services in a few months, and I'll get into that later. So it might be its own podcast episode. But anyway, so I do tarot and ministerial, like liminal space calls. I've been a minister for 5+ years. Because I am an polymath autodidact, I had plenty of time to get into all of this because I was a homeschooler when I was a kid. I had 4 years of formal schooling in a elementary school, and I got married really young, right after graduating high school. So I have had a lot of time on my hands where I was able to pour a lot of energy into what interested me, which was herbs, the planets, and of course, tarot. So metaphysics, occult studies, hermeticism, and it's kind of interesting how all these studies have led me to be deity-less at this point right now. I honor all sacred energies as sacred, but I do not currently invoke any specific energy in my energetic spaces. I invoke all of them as long as they don't cause mischief. I've had deities of choice in the past, but it's just not a spiritual priority right now. I think the godhood works through each of us in very specific ways, and I am under assignment to focus on that channeling instead of something external outside of myself. And respectfully, I take all of the directives I am given because otherwise my gifts will not work. So now, one of the things I love to do is work with neurodivergence. I love working with other people that have various degrees of being on the spectrum. I love working with people that have learning disabilities. I love helping people figure out astrology or learning tarot or learning more about themselves and figuring out a new perspective, flipping things around and making sure that people aren't looking at things in a narrow way, because there is a lot of old paradigms that have shifted out of focus with Pluto leaving Pluto leaving Capricorn going into Aquarius. There is drastic shifts with Uranus about to leave Taurus going into Gemini. We have Neptune just going into Aries, and Saturn will be going into Aries very shortly as well. We're going to have a shift in paradigms, and authenticity is on the plate. This is the most important thing right now because it's do or die when it comes to authenticity and vulnerability. So here we are. This is me maintaining velocity. Now, checking back in with the meaning of maintaining velocity. My good friend Janina, she is also known as Blasphemy on Instagram and Facebook. She's a talented artist of many, many kinds. She's also a polymath. She and I were speaking once in 2019, and we were talking about finding a solution. But for some reason, autocorrect changed it to soliton. And I said, listen, read that again. Let's find out what a soliton is, because autocorrect doesn't put in words that don't belong. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe it selected the correct word, and we needed which is the advice to the solution to this issue. Maybe we need to dig deeper. So we looked into solitons and found out that they are the action of molecules changing based on a centrifugal force, right? More or less the torus field or the heart space, changing the velocity around you and changing the elements, manifesting, observing matter. This is the act of observation of your own matter and thus changing the trajectory. Maintaining velocity is a tornado in spin. This is you changing your internal force and speed and flow, and therefore having everything else around you spinning at a different rate. When we do this, when we make those incremental baby steps into the right direction in alignment and authenticity and with vulnerability and genuineness, we begin to change the molecule arrangements around us. And this does look like disruption when you be on this journey, when you are on this journey and it's beginning. So I'm here as a beacon of light, as best as I possibly can while I'm still on this journey myself. Everybody's figuring it out as we go. But I like to talk about mindset, fitness, health, herbs, anything that we can use to empower ourselves to be better people. I will get on that shit forthwith. If you know me, you might already know my content from Instagram or YouTube. I have the name Sui Generous Regenerate there as well. So listen, I'm assuming you're already part of my community, so I want to say thank you for showing up over here as well. You guys keep me going, your encouragement, but also just knowing that you tell me when I make a difference in your life, and that is a huge honor to me to know this in order to keep the fuel going. So I don't get paid. I don't get monetized in a correct way. I've always been fighting with Instagram over a shadow ban. I've never gotten money for any of the videos I make every day. Not yet. I will one day. I'll make buku crazy money one day when I figure out this hook algorithm thing. But until then, you guys are a part of this early space for me, and we're building something beautiful as we go. So I want you to be open-hearted, open-minded. As we continue on this journey, you're going to see a lot of different changing content, because as I've developed over the years, I've been doing this. My YouTube channel was started in 2017, so I've been at this an extremely long time, and my shit doesn't stay the same. I evolve as a person, and I hope that you're here to evolve with me, and I appreciate you and your time. This is going to be just the first introduction podcast, something a little short, just to give you a little bit of backstory, why we're here, what's going on. So when we're talking about maintaining velocity, what it really is it's not just the force of a soliton and soliton life. But it's about dedication and constant commitment towards ascension, more or less. Are you going to be a better today than you were yesterday? You know, are you competing with yourself to be a better person? Or are you competing with somebody outside of you? Are you seeking validation from the outside? Or are you establishing your own inner faith and trusting yourself to the point that it's nice to have validation from the outside? And it does feel nice to have hugs. It feels nice to have support, but you don't necessarily need it to continue. It will not deviate your dedication to your mission. So are you on mission or not? That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. This is my spiritual mission, and you couldn't shut me up if you tried. I'm a double Gemini with an Aries sun, so we're here to do the thing and establish a community. So thank you for getting in on this with me, and let's get this uploaded. I appreciate you. Happy Taurus season. It's 420. If you garden, pick a beautiful time of day to go outside and really commune with nature and do your gardening, okay?